Upon stripping the vehicle, this is the kind of water we found when we stripping the radiator. So meaning it has a lot of rust, which we have to now remove all the pipes, the radiator pipes, so that they can be cleaned or replaced, which they are not good for the engine. So we needed to strip off the cooling system so that it can all be cleaned. You can see the radiator was in a bad condition, so it gave us hard times because the fan needed to be stripped separately from the radiator, but then it was not that difficult as we managed to strip off everything including the pipes. So this is the pipe that transfers the aircon fluid, so for which is the fluid is still in the pipe, so we're just gonna wrap it up with the plastic and then use a masking tape so that the fluid still remains inside the pipe. Otherwise, here we're done stripping the radiator together with its fan and all the pipes that transfers water to the engine. So now it was time to remove the bumper. For us to remove the bumper, this is an old car, we had to strip off the lights, and then these switches, which are indicator switches. One of the very difficult things to do on these old cars, especially when it comes to unplugging those switches. So determining how the bumper looks, it's in a bad condition because the crackle also looks to be bent somehow. But anyway, we are auto repairs, we're gonna deal with it. It's not a big deal. So here our main focus was to get access to the gearbox, also to remove the front bumper. Looking at these wires and the pipes, it seems like we are very far from getting access to our gearbox, but yeah, we will get there. Wiring is not part of our specialization, but then yeah, we will try by all means. Upon stripping our car, we found a very old screwdriver which was sitting just inside the bumper. It looks like the mechanics failed to remove their screwdriver because it was really difficult to strip out this car, especially around the bumper. So these are some of the switches which, if you are not careful, you're gonna break them. But then anyway, we managed to lubricate the switches up until we get them right. Now here we're getting access to our gearbox, but then only two pipes that were left that was gonna disturb us from cleaning the gearbox. So those are aircon pipes. They are the ones that transfers heat or cold to the vehicle's air conditioning. So we needed to remove them out of our way as we removed the thermostat housing and some of the water pipes. Now upon stripping the aircon pipes, we then now realize that the wiring is also on our way, which needs to be stripped. The easier way was to strip off the whole of the fuse box so that it can all go to the right hand side without us stripping the whole wiring, so that at the end of the day we get confused. So now the best way was to strip it off and then we take it to the right hand side of the vehicle, because now on the engine bay we were gonna work on the left hand side, which is the side of the gearbox. So the easier way was for us to strip off the fuse box, take it to the other side. Then we needed to remove some of the parts that adds weight to the vehicle, one of them being the airbox. So the carburetor from this vehicle is no longer getting some air from this airbox, so it needed to be removed because we are now going to use a universal air filter. So this was no longer a need, so we stripped it off, goes to the dustbin. Now here's a full access to the gearbox. Nothing is gonna distract us apart from the gearbox mounting, which is not gonna be a problem because we are willing to paint it also, but then not with the same color as the gearbox. So now that the gearbox is clean, we're just gonna brush it off, use some water to remove some of the dust from the gearbox. Then the next thing will be using a paraffin to remove the oils. Then after, I guess that will be our journey to using a degreaser, then preparing it for paint. Now I use that cloth to cover the hole that goes to the engine block, which allows water into the engine so that it does not get any dirt. I use this red plastic to cover our fuse box so that whenever
now that we have a clean gearbox,
it doesn't
this is our gearbox now,
electronics.
clean. And
so
then
for
we just
advice,
gonna use
if
a
your car has
paraffin
a computer box, anything that has to do with electronic,
all the oils
make sure
before we
you
can use a
cover the part
degreaser.
up
Then
so that
that's it for now.
water does not distract any of the engine components or sensors.